Hey there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day or night it is with you. Welcome to Verbling. My name is Hamish, and this hour of Verbling is a TOEFL speaking class. We're going to work together to practice the speaking section of TOEFL, and today we're going to focus on the independent tasks. Those are questions 1 and 2 of the speaking section. These first 2 minutes of the class are for Verbling premium users to come in and reserve their place in class to get their seat at the table. So if you're finding it difficult to get a spot, get a space at the classes on Verbling that really interest you, then come on in these first 2 minutes, and you'll guarantee that you get a spot. Samuel, hello, good morning, Samuel.
Hello.
How are you today?
Fine, and you? How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Thank you for asking. It's my first class of the day. It's the sun is still coming up. Are you ready for some TOEFL speaking practice today, Samuel?
Yes.
Excellent. I hope so too. I hope I am. All right. Very good, Samuel. I'm just going to add a couple of links while we're here to the chat box. The first one is the official TOEFL website. TOEFL is run. Oh no, here we go. Let me test this chat box first of all. I'm going to have to do this within the, let me try it here. Sometimes I have a slight problem with the chat box. Yes, today I'm unable to put things in the chat box, so I guess I'll need to share my my screen with some of these questions. I'm just testing it again.
Am I the only one?
You're the only one right now, but they'll come in after the next minute. Is that coming up for you? I'll say hello as well. I'll say hello to Dwayne Ying. Hello, Dwayne.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Where are you from, Dwayne?
I'm from Colombia.
Colombia, very nice. Do you want to take the TOEFL exam, or are you interested just in improving your spoken English today?
I'm interested to improve my English.
Okay, very good. Well, we can definitely help you practice with that. Welcome to the class. Great to meet you. Let me say hello to Mohammed. Hello, Mohammed. Hi, Mohammed. Do you have your microphone on? Have you unmuted your microphone so I can hear you? Let me see. One second, just typing in the chat box for him in case he can't hear me. Or there we go. Yes, Mohammed, I can't hear you. So perhaps if you want to speak today, you can unmute your microphone and we'll hear you. I'm having some trouble writing in the chat box today, so the things I want to write to you, I'm going to share on the screen with the class. Okay, so well, let us get started. Yes, we're going to practice the speaking section, the TOEFL speaking section today. We're going to focus on questions 1 and 2. Questions 1 and 2 are similar. They're not the same, but they're similar because they're both independent tasks. And in the TOEFL exam, the independent task means, okay, it's just speaking. So we're not reading a paragraph, we're not listening to a clip of a lecture, anything like that. We just get the question. In fact, in the TOEFL exam, I think all of you will take the IBT exam. So much like you are now, you'll be looking at a computer screen, and you'll have your headphones and your microphone. Oh, that sounds a lot better, Mohammed. Can you hear me now, Mohammed? Oh, I was hoping. Oh, see a cat in the background. So yes, these questions are very are similar. They're not exactly the same, but they are, I think, the simplest part of the speaking section for TOEFL, and that's why I want to practice these ones with you first. Let me say hello to Lorena. Hello, Lorena.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. Welcome back. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. It's Wednesday, so it's almost Friday.
That's very positive. I like that.
Yeah.
I woke up thinking, oh, it's only Wednesday. But you're right. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I like that. Welcome back. I look forward to practicing with you today. Very nice to see you. Let me say hello to Mark as well. Hello, Mark. There we go. 1 second. Yeah, Mark. The button you're looking for is well, let's see. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, Mark. Oh, we lost him. Too much excitement. Okay. Let me say hello one more time, and that's hello to Amin. Hello, Amin. Can you hear me okay, Amin? Have you unmuted your microphone? Okay. I'm just going to write. Oh, I can't write in the box, of course. That's a nuisance. Okay. So we're going to, let's start, and as other people come in, I hope they'll join in on our practice here. So, independent tasks. We have questions 1 and question 2. With question 1, they just want an answer in TOEFL. They want an answer that, well, tell me how long. The questions in questions 1 and 2, do you know how long you have to speak for in these questions? Can anyone tell me?
45 seconds.
45 seconds, thank you very much. Absolutely right, okay. So, again, I would write that down if I could, but I can't use the chat box today. Let me try one more time. I'm going to write in the screen 145. No.
Preparing 30 seconds.
Is it 30 seconds or is it a little bit less? Oh, for the integrated tasks, you're absolutely right. 30 seconds. For these independent tasks, 15, right? So we've got, so you'll see a question on the screen, just 15 seconds to prepare your answer, and then there'll be a bleep, and you'll have 45 seconds to give your answer. 15 seconds, is that a long time to think and to plan? I'd agree with you. I don't think it's very long at all. But we can do this. It's possible. We just need to practice. It's an exam situation, very different conditions to just chatting with someone. This is you know, it's a formal exam, and we have to give TOEFL what TOEFL wants to hear. We have to give them a structure, a fluent answer. We have to give them good pronunciation, a natural talking speed, good word choice. They're looking for all those things in your answer. But I have to say, number 1, they're looking for an answer to the question. So with, let's see, let me give you an example for question 1. A classic one, and we'll practice other questions, but just to give you an example, question 1 might be, what is your happiest childhood memory? Okay? So it's not choose different things, it's give them one memory, right? One memory from your childhood, the happiest one. And so you've got 15 seconds to plan that out. You've got, and 45 seconds to speak. I mean, 45 seconds, how much can you say in 45 seconds? How many sentences do you think we have time for in 45 seconds?
7.
Sentences.
7 is what they say, and I would have to agree. It's probably between 6 and 8. I mean, it depends on our talking speed, but it does help us think, okay, 45 seconds, 7 things. One of those is going to be, okay, childhood memory. Let's start with the answer and say, oh, my favorite childhood. I really loved the time when I went on holiday to a foreign country with my family. And there's your one answer, your one sentence. You want to give some circumstances or some background. For example, oh, well, you give your age, or you say where you went, or you talk about your family. You know, I had a younger brother, an older sister, my parents were living with us, that kind of thing. And then you get on to the real details, you know, really explaining why it's your happiest one. And you could give them 2 big reasons with examples or details, or 3 smaller reasons with examples or details. That's really up to you. But we absolutely, the number one thing we're looking for here in a TOEFL answer is for the examiner, first of all, for you to answer the question, right? But also for the examiner to be able to understand you without working too hard. You want to make it easy for that examiner to understand your answer. If they don't understand, well, we're in trouble, right? So make sure you use your clear pronunciation, that you speak up, that you speak into your microphone as well. Yeah, make it nice and clear. And so important, guys, to practice. Practice with a microphone and headphones, speaking into a computer, so that when you take the TOEFL exam, it doesn't feel weird. So that's another good reason for coming to Verbaling and practicing your speaking, because it's just one more experience to practice this, at first, slightly strange way of speaking to people, but when you get used to it, it can feel very comfortable. Fatima, I want to say hello to you. I can't chat in the chat box today, so I don't think it's fixed itself. Oops, let me try one more time. No, so I have no chat box today. Very sad, but I can read what other people are writing outside of the class, so that's good. Okay, so let's, we're going to start with question 1, and I want to give each of you a practice with this, and let's remember, yes, 15 seconds preparation time, 45 seconds speaking time. I'll use I'm using the clock on my wall to make sure we're strict about that time. So important when you're practicing to use these time limits. If I gave you 5 minutes to prepare your answer, I'm sure the answer would be fantastic. But it's not a good practice for you. That's not helpful. You need to practice with the time limits. And at first, you might find that very difficult, and it is difficult. But the more you practice thinking in that short space of time, the better you're going to get, okay? So let me share the screen. I have to slightly change the way I have these because I don't have the chat box. So just let me have a moment, and I'm going to put these in here. Okay. Okay. Here's the first one. I'm going to make the font nice and big so we can all see it on the screen there.
But I have a question.
Okay, sure. Before we, okay.
If I will take this test, and then 45 seconds I will speak for 7 sentences or 8 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
But in 3 sentences, for example, will be grammatically mistakes. For example, tenses, not correct tenses, or words incorrect.
Sure. Yeah.
What result I will have for this?
I can't tell you what the score is going to be. It depends on a lot of things. But the point about your question about if I make grammatical mistakes, is that really bad news for me? You can make some mistakes. You can make a couple of grammatical mistakes and still get a top score in the question. Okay. The most important question the examiner is asking, and what you should be asking when you're practicing is, if I make a mistake, does that make it harder to understand what I'm saying? Because we can make mistakes, and we can stutter and stumble and pause, but it's still easy to understand what we're saying. But if our mistakes, if it's word choice or grammar or sentence structure, if it makes it very difficult to understand what we're saying, then there's a problem. Because number one, the examiner must understand what we're saying. If they don't, they can't assess what we've said. So that score is going to be very low if they can't understand us. Of course, the better your grammar, the more correct grammar you use, the better your score. But if you make a couple of mistakes, especially in the first 2 or 3 sentences, don't panic, right? Keep going. And if you get better towards the end, then of course that's going to help your score. You'll get an overall score for that one question, right? So you can afford to make a couple of mistakes, and if everything else is excellent, you can still do really well in the speaking exam, right? Because they're looking for students who can who can communicate in English. Yeah, it's not about being perfect. There's no native speaker on the planet Earth who can produce perfect English. It doesn't exist in the spoken form. People make mistakes, but of course you want to produce the best, most fluent, most coherent, best structured answer you can. That's going to give you the best chance of getting that high score. Yeah, does that make sense, Igor?
Yes.
Yeah.
But for example, three mistakes like this. Instead to say have, I will say has. Instead to say had, I will say have. Like these mistakes.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Three mistakes in 45 seconds. What score I will have?
Again, I mean, the score is going to depend on all the, on your word choice as well, on your talking speed, on your pronunciation. So not just the grammar. So your total score, I have no idea what that's going to be. The mistakes, the examples, I have or I has. We can, and if an English person is listening to you and we say, oh, I has two orange. We still understand, right? We can hear the mistake, but it doesn't affect our understanding. It just gives us a, oh, okay, moment. So I don't count that as a massive grammatical error, right? If the mistake means we don't understand what the speaker is saying, then there's a problem. So I would, grammar is very important. The biggest thing in these questions is make sure you listen carefully to the question, that you'll read the question on the screen as well. So listen to it, read it, and make sure, number one, you answer it. Okay, give a direct answer to that question. And when you're speaking, if the examiner finds it easy to understand, you're going to get a higher score. If the examiner, after you leave the TOEFL testing center, and the examiner is listening to your test, and if the examiner's like this, if the examiner's really finding it hard to understand, well, we know that's going to be a low score because they can't give a good score for something they don't understand. And perhaps maybe the reason for that is grammatical mistakes, or maybe it's poor word choice, poor vocabulary. Maybe the candidate is talking too fast, right? Maybe the accent is very difficult. We know, by the way, of course, we all.
Yeah.
Everyone has an accent. An accent isn't a problem. It's only if it interferes with our understanding of the English. So if it's so thick that we can't understand, that's a problem. But an accent itself is fine. It's nothing. I mean, we don't have to sound American to get a good score in the TOEFL exam. We don't have to sound British to get a good score in the IELTS exam. It's about being clear and about answering these questions. So let's go. Let's practice. Samuel, are you happy to be number one for us today?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so this one is for Samuel. I'm going to, I'll share the screen. You'll all see the question. Please, everybody, take those, very short, take those 15 seconds to prepare. But I'll make sure, I try my best to make sure all of you get a good practice with me and with us today, okay? Samuel, when you see my screen, there will be a question and a little bit of instructions as well. So, and I'll read the question out to you and then give you 15 seconds. So the truth is, you really have more than 15 seconds to plan out your answer. That's the good news, because it takes me time, takes the computer time to read out your question. Okay. So I am going to, and of course, Samuel, if it's not clear, if you can't see it, you let me know, right? There we go. Okay, I'm gonna start the screen share. Okay, Samuel, can you see that okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so I'll start the practice now and make it as normal and realistic as possible. So you're watching the screen, and the announcer will say, all right, you have 15 seconds to prepare this answer. The question is, who would you like to go on a trip abroad with? Describe this person and say why he or she would be a good travel companion for you. You have 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begins now. Okay, Samuel, please begin your answer now.
Okay, to have some time together. I would like to go with with she because she is the person that I love, and I like to stay time with her.
Okay,
And
Samuel, that's it. That's it.
okay,
That's 45 seconds. So I'm
okay,
cutting you off. I'm cutting you off, Samuel, because that's 45. I don't want to be rude, but
okay, good.
after 45 seconds, anything you say has gone. The computer won't record it. So, and I want to give you a realistic practice. I heard lots of good things, by the way, in that answer. First of all, a question again for you, Samuel. Is that an easy question or a difficult one? To tell me about your 15 seconds. Was that easy or difficult to plan your answer?
I guess was a little hard because I would like to have paper and pencil to draft my response.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
It could be better because when you read the answer,
Mm-hmm.
you have some ideas to say,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe when your responses, you are a little nervous because you want to be perfect in grammar,
Uh-huh.
and thus in that way you lose the focus of your answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's better if you have a pencil and paper, and paper. You can write some points you want to say. In that way, it's
Yeah.
easier.
I think that's a really good point, Samuel, and you're absolutely right. And the good news is, in the TOEFL exam, you'll have that paper, you'll have that pencil. At the end of the exam, you have to hand your papers back to the test center. But during the exam, you'll have plenty of paper and a pencil to plan out your answers. And I agree. I mean, 15 seconds, not very long. But if it was me, yeah, I'd be writing, 1 or 2, 3 things down just to help me remember. Because you're right, you're absolutely right. You're having to concentrate on the English, on the vocabulary, on the pronunciation. It's a lot to remember. And you have a question to answer as well.
Yes.
So absolutely, yeah, I think a really good idea there, Samuel, and for anyone to make sure that you're using your pencil and paper.
Okay.
And it's a great thing to practice. And in the TOEFL exam, in this test center, they will make sure that you have something to write with, something to write on. So you'll always have that in the actual exam. But yeah, such a good way to practice. Absolutely right.
What do you think about my response?
Uh-huh.
Do you guess I have mistakes?
Well, yeah.
Grammar?
I'm going to look at the question again. Of course, the first thing, and just like the examiner, Samuel, the first thing I'm listening for is do I get an answer to the question? Your first sentence, you say, and because the question is who, of course, and you say, oh, well, I'd like to go with my wife, right? So that part is covered. You give some additional details saying, oh, well, we're planning a trip. I like that. And I think you have a sentence or two. You have some room, even in 45 seconds, to talk a little bit about, oh, we're planning a trip because years ago we didn't do that. I like that. But let's look at that second part and make sure that we cover, describe this person and say why she'd be a good travel companion. Now, I know she's your wife, and you said, you love her, and these are good things, absolutely.
Yes.
So the examiner is listening for, well, what is Samuel's wife like? I mean, what is her character or her personality? Does she like does she like spontaneous holidays, or does she like to plan everything out? Does she, maybe you're going to a foreign country and she has great language skills. Of course, it's a great idea to go on holiday with your wife, but we need to know more about your wife, really, to understand why you're happy together. Why? Because of course there are some marriages where I know in the United States where the husband goes on one holiday and the wife goes on another because they're great at home, but they can't travel. They can't travel together. I tell you, and my wife and I, we don't like driving together. We like being on holiday, but we don't like driving. So we need an explanation. We need some description about why your wife is the right person for you, the best person for you to go on holiday with. So you spend a lot of time talking about.
But,
Yeah.
Do you note some grammar mistakes in my response?
So I know you're concentrating on the grammar, but I was far more interested in the content of your answer, because the grammar isn't going to matter if you don't give the full answer. That's number one. So that's the first thing I'm listening for. Is he answering the full question, especially in 45 seconds. So, whenever you're practicing these, keep a good eye out on, first of all, the question, but also that instruction. Describe this person, say why he or she would be a good. Okay, you've got two things there. We describe, so we need to, you need to describe your wife, and say why she's a good travel companion. And maybe she's the one in charge of booking hotels. Maybe she holds the documents and the passports. She's very responsible. Or maybe she makes friends really easily. So for me, I'm very shy. So my wife she's much better at making friends. So I mean that kind of thing. It's nice to go on holiday. Yeah, sure.
I'm here some mistake to Samuel that I think that I can correct in this case.
Okay.
I hear that you say to she. In this case, I think that is to her, the possessive.
Okay.
In some sentence, I don't remember which exactly, but I hear one mistake.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We can't hear you.
Thanks for that
Hamish.
feedback.
Yes, and I have another something to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, according to the time, I think that it depends on what is the question, because according to the question, you have the answer easily. You can get easily the answer, or maybe you take more time, according to the question.
Yeah, well, I think that there are always going to be things you need to cover in your answer, but it's important to yes, you give a direct answer to the question. That should be sentence number one, is your answer. But the examiner is always looking for either why, or where, or what, or who, or when. They're looking for details. They're listening for an explanation for what you're talking about. So, if I say the best person for me to go on holiday with is a friend from university, I need to explain. I need to give I needed to give that description about that person. Of course, I can talk about where we might go. I can give that background, but the focus of my answer must be on that person I'm going on holiday with. I need to give a very clear idea to the examiner what this person's like. Otherwise, the examiner's thinking, well, why are you going on holiday with this person? I don't quite get it. So so that's the key thing on that point. Let's move on though. And Samuel, forgive me, please. Thank you for being our first practice today. I really appreciate you practicing with us like that. That was very good. Let me go. Igor, are you happy to be number 2 today?
Yes, but I want more easy question, not such question. Maybe.
Well, I don't. You see, it's hard for me to know what an easy question is for you. I have to keep them pretty random, otherwise.
Okay.
There's. I mean, these are all real TOEFL questions, and it's okay. It's okay if you find it difficult. Yeah, because this is just a practice. It's just me. It doesn't matter. I'm not giving you a score. So, and practice, it can be difficult, but I want to make it useful. And if you practice like this, if you practice in the correct way with that strict time limit, you're going to make progress. You're going to get better at this. Okay. Where's the question? You might find it more easier. You might not. I don't know. Please, everybody, let's take those 15 seconds to plan out our answer. If you have a pencil or a pen, take your notes. And this one is for Igor, so I'm going to share my screen. There it is. All right, Igor. Here's your question. Your question 1 in the speaking section. What is your favorite place to visit on weekends? Describe it and explain why it is your favorite place to go. Igor, you have 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, please give me your answer.
Okay. Let's start. My favorite place to visit on holidays is Andy's Pizza. It's a place near my house, and I usually go with my friends. It's a good place. It's crowded. They have good food. They have good music. Also, price there is very cheap. It's cheap price. Food is have a good quality. Has a good quality. It's a good quality, and also there are good waiters. That's why I like this place and this pizza. Thank you. 40 seconds.
Thank you for giving me your time as well. I appreciate that. Well, tell me. I know you wanted an easier question. Is this an easy one or a difficult one for you?
This is easy one, but yes, but you know, this is my second answer in this kind test, TOEFL. Mm-hmm. So when I have time limit, and I have time limit to answer, is my second time. Okay. First one was here on verbal, but with another teacher, and now is with you, and that's why maybe I do not say very well all my responses. Well,
first of all, let me say thank you for practicing with us, because if students didn't practice with me, I'd have nothing to do during this class. So thank you for being number 2. I appreciate it, and I know it can be a little nerve-wracking to practice this way, but we practice the correct way, we get better, right? And so this is a good thing. It's a good thing you're doing, and I mean that for everybody here. It's good practice to plan out your answers, good practice to speak your answers, and of course it's great to listen to other students, because you can hear the good things, you can hear the bad things as well, but it gives you a really good idea of it gives you other ideas, things that maybe you didn't think of yourself. I thought, let's see, you told me where it was. You talked about the food, the music, the prices. You gave me some very positive points. Okay, sorry, just saying. Yeah, some very. I liked the description. I thought it was very positive. Your talking speed was pretty quick, You can slow that down, yeah, which is good news. I think you can slow down your talking speed, which means you don't have to say as much during those 45 seconds. I always imagine when you're answering this question 1, you can imagine you're having a conversation with a friend. These are quite sort of informal questions, and so we can relax, and we talk at a good normal talking speed, and it'll be easier to understand us as well, of course, because if we talk at a natural, relaxed pace, it's easier to understand pronunciation and word choice, things like that. So I think it's really important for you to continue practicing, yeah, and continuing to be strict with yourself with the timing, to take those 15 seconds and only give yourself 45 seconds for the answer. You can find these TOEFL questions. They're not top secret. You can find them on the internet anytime you like, just doing a Google search, and you'll find a host, a great deal of example questions that you can use, and you can practice by yourself with friends. or with a teacher here on Verbling. So thanks for being number 2, Igor. Please take the time to continue practicing, and I know you'll get better. So thank
Yes,
you.
and
Yeah.
for example, for this kind of answer, I noticed that I made many mistakes when I talked about this, and how many points I can get? 1 point or 2 points?
It's well, I'm not the TOEFL examiner. I don't know how helpful it is. It would be a low score in this example, Igor, because we need a good structure. Let me find the question again. 1 second. I've got 3 documents open because of the chat.
About favorite plates?
Yeah, favorite plates. And you gave me some examples about why it's your favorite place. I didn't hear a strong description of the place. Okay, and those instructions are describe it and explain why it's your favorite place. I would be listening for, as the examiner, I would be thinking, well, where is it? How often do you go? When do you go?
I said near my house.
Yeah.
It's near my house.
I know, but I'm giving you examples.
Oh.
Just examples of what we would talk about. With your answer, I would be looking for a clearer structure. Definitely, you would want to improve that grammar. Give me fuller sentences. I mean, the examples were, okay, good quality food, cheap prices. I want to hear a full sentence. So it'd be like, well, at this place, the food is of really high quality, or you can buy things very cheaply here. We need that full sentence for a higher TOEFL score. Okay, so maybe to work on is that long, those coherent full sentences, because that demonstrates at a higher level of English as well. So I hope that's helpful. Again, for practicing with us, I appreciate it. Let me find another question. 1 second. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to put this one in the next page. Again, let me make it big. I'm sorry, I would use the chat box, but I can't type in there today, so I'm having to improvise. There we go. I want to make it nice and big so you can see it. All right, there we go. Now let me get back to our class here. Hami, would you like to, oh sorry, Hamid, I remember from last time. Hamid, would you like to practice with us?
I prefer next turn.
All right, okay, I will move on. And we are going to run this class again, a TOEFL speaking class, tomorrow in 23 hours and 21 minutes time. It's going to be tomorrow, that's 2 p.m. GMT, okay? So really, pretty much this time tomorrow, we're going to run this, a very similar class again. So if you want to join me again and get more practice, absolutely. Dwei Ying, would you like to practice with us?
Yes, I would like to.
All right, very good. Glad to hear it. I'm going to, again, same story, 15 seconds preparation, 45 seconds speaking time. I'll share my screen, and please, everybody, take a look at the question, use those 15 seconds to plan your answer, and I'll be asking Dwei for his answer after 15 seconds. So let me share the screen. There we go. All right. Dwei, your question 1 is, what is your favorite book or movie? Describe it and say why it is your favorite. You have 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begins now. Okay, Dwei, please begin your answer now.
Yes. My favorite book is the Bible because I like the story of creation. I like how the people in that era or that time can describe the presence of the communication we got. I like because there are so many people that have a personal communication with God, and I love this story because it's the story about me in the same time. That is why I like this book, and for me, it's the best book that I have read, and every day I try to read it.
Okay. Thanks, Tway. I appreciate your number 3 today. Thank you for practicing with us. Pretty good timing. That's most of your 45 seconds you used. What do you think of that question? Was that easy for you to choose the book you wanted to talk about? Did you spend much time choosing, or did you spend more time planning your answer?
I think that was easy because I know some things about the topic that just they asking me, and maybe I have some complications with the grammar structure sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
And sometimes you need to try to don't repeat the same sentence that you have said before.
Very true. Yeah.
Yes, and maybe you feel a little nervous, and that's why maybe you repeat some sentence. But I try to don't repeat the same sentence that I have said.
Okay, I think those are interesting points, and I think a lot of people, a lot of TOEFL students, are going to feel exactly the same way as you. They might feel a little nervous. They'll worry about repeating themselves. They'll worry about the grammar and the structure. Absolutely. If I was taking this exam, I think I'd worry about the same things. Absolutely, and that's why it's so good to be working on English in all kinds of ways, finding whatever, reading, listening, of course, speaking practice, and writing, all the things that we do. And I would say reading is the number one thing you can do to improve your English, because reading, of course, has the most complex, the most high-level vocabulary. You can do it independently, with a dictionary. Of course, speaking practice on verbling is pretty good as well. Tell me, well, let's look again at the question. Oh yes, your favorite book or movie. Describe it and say why it is your favorite. Dwayne, that second point. There's two things, right? Describe it, say why it's your favorite. Did you answer both those points?
Yes, I answered these points. I said why I like it, and I describe because I like this. Why I like this book. What happening into the book, and why I like the stories.
Yeah, I think so. I think you did answer those points. So not the first thing, got to answer the question, and you did that. And you were very clear from the start which book you were talking about, and you gave me some reasons, and that's what we have to do. You give whatever answer you want in terms of a book or a movie. They don't, the examiner doesn't give you a high score or a low score depending on the book. It could be anything. It could even be the dictionary, maybe. I don't know. If that would be up to you to explain it, right? So the choice of book or movie, it's not important to the examiners. Of course, it's important to us, right? It matters to us. It doesn't matter to them. They just want to hear why. They want to, what and why. So they need a description, and that means we have to pretend that the examiner doesn't know what the Bible is. Okay. Of course they do. But we need to pretend that they don't and describe it as if they don't, as if this was some obscure mystery book they'd never heard of, right? And of course that second part, why? Why is your favorite? I heard some good points, and I thought you gave interesting explanation why. I liked your explanation of the Bible as a book, and I liked why it was me. Like that interesting answer, right? That you're going to want to practice these, and it's hard work to prepare for an exam like this. It's hard work to improve your spoken English. But the more you do, if you practice in the correct ways, just like this, the better you're going to get. Absolutely. This is not something we can just pick up, because answering questions like this with 15 seconds, 45 seconds, that's not natural. No one does that in life. No one does it outside of an examination room. So I don't know anyone who could just walk in, even a native English speaker. They couldn't just walk into the TOEFL exam and get a perfect score. because they don't know what the examiner wants. They don't know about the timing or about how to prepare or structure. So they would have to practice as well, even a native English speaker. So this is half about English, and I think half about TOEFL as well, or IELTS, or TOEIC, whatever exam you're taking.
Yes, and I have that you have to choose the right words. You can use whatever word. You have to use a technical word sometimes.
If that technical word is a good word, if
Yes,
that
a good
word
word.
helps describe things or helps explain your feelings,
In a better way.
absolutely. And I want to give you an example of that. If you think about those poor examiners listening to all these speaking sections, if they hear 10 students say, "Oh, it was a difficult time and I was sad," or it was a good experience and so I was happy. If they hear happy and sad all day, if another student comes along and says, instead of happy, they say, "I was ecstatic, I was delighted," or instead of sad, they say, "Oh, I was devastated, I was heartbroken."
Yes, it's different.
If they do that, oh, you made them so happy, right? And this is for everybody. If you use words like that, and if you use them in the correct way, so don't use words you don't understand. Don't
Yes.
use words you're not sure about. But the more vocabulary you have, the more descriptive you can be, just like in your first language, right? You want to be able to tell a good story. And I know it's sometimes frustrating with a second language because you don't have all the words you want. But the more reading you do, even for the speaking section, reading is great practice, great preparation to increase your vocabulary. Of course, use an online dictionary so you can click and listen to the pronunciation. Very helpful, so you can feel more confident about using some of those bigger advanced words. But yes, if you use higher level words when it's appropriate, when it makes sense, sure, that'll help your score because you are being more descriptive. You are telling a clearer story. The examiner understands better what you're talking about. Absolutely.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
No, absolutely. No, I agree 100%, Dwayne, with you. I think that's a really good point. All right, let me find another question here. It's a little slower for me today because I'm having to put them in a box. Let me see.
Hello there.
Yeah. Who's that?
I'm Danilo from Brazil.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just trying to find another question. Okay, let me look in my document to find another question so we can practice.
All right.
Here we go. Let me copy this and put this in our tape. There we go. Put it in here. Cut and paste. Make it nice and big. Oh, that's not big at all. 1 second. Okay, this is a good question. Again, this is a question 1, so you don't have to choose between 2 things. Not like question 2. Question 1, we're just answering the question and giving a clear description. And this question, like the others, will have some instruction about describe or say why, that kind of thing. So let me come back to the classroom for 1 moment.
I was supposed to be washing my clothes.
Michaela, hello Michaela, would you like to practice with us today? Michaela, are you there? I think not. Okay, let me go and Danilo, hello Danilo.
How's it going?
It's pretty good. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm very well. Are you happy to practice with us?
Sure.
All right, very good. Okay, so this one is for you, Danilo. But everyone else, when I share my screen, please practice. Please take your 15 seconds, like Danilo, to prepare your answer. But after 15 seconds, I'll ask Danilo to give me his answer, and then we'll talk about that answer. I've got a little bit of background noise. I think it might be Dina. If you can mute your microphone, Danila, that would... that'll make it quieter for us. Thank you. Okay, so this one's for Danila. Let me share my screen with you so you can see the question. Okay, there we go. Danilo, here's your question 1. Name a person whom you truly admire. Describe the person and say why you admire him or her. You have 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Your 15 seconds begin now. Okay, Denise, please begin your answer now.
Okay, I have a friend who I personally admire a lot. This person, his name is Edison. He's one of my oldest friends, and he's a person that I admire because he's a very hardworking person. He's also a teacher. He's an English teacher, and I consider him to be my master because he has taught me so many things about English and also about life. And that's why I think that he's a person I admire a lot. Also because he is a very cultured person. He's aware of lots of cultural aspects about Europe and the United States, and there's always something to talk about when I am with him. So I think it's very interesting to have him as a friend.
Okay, thank you, Danilo. That was very interesting. Let me take a note of that last point. USA. All right, now let me come back to you 1 second. There we go. I've got a little bit of sounds coming from me. I apologize. Danilo, tell me, first of all, that question, is that an easy question for you or a difficult one? What do you think?
Well, I think that question was easy because I don't know. I have applied for TOEFL test before, and the most difficult questions are the final ones. For me, the first ones they are pretty simple because you just have to talk about one personal thing, and the final questions they work more with academic stuff, and gets more difficult, and you have to relate the text with the lecture, and it gets more difficult in the end.
No, absolutely. And so those later questions in the speaking section, they are integrated questions, and so there are, as you say, perhaps you have something to listen to, perhaps you have something to read, and these earlier questions, questions 1 and 2, they're independent questions, so you just get the question and you answer it, and they're personal. And Danilo, I agree with you. These questions 1 and 2, they can feel much easier to answer, especially if we practice. They can be much easier, more simpler perhaps, or less complicated to answer than the later ones. Okay, so that one, so you're saying it was all right. Did you? Let's see. We had describe and say why. Did you give a good answer? Do you think in terms of describing the person and also saying why?
Yeah, I think
Why
so,
you
because
admired him?
yeah, I think I kind of gave 2 or 3 reasons why I admire this person, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I'm just asking you. I thought your answer was pretty good, Danilo. It's a good check of my listening skills. So you talked about you described him as your oldest friend. So it was an English teacher. He was an interesting way to describing us as a master. And you talked about the improvements he's been able to help you with in improving your own English. And you gave me 2 reasons. You were running pretty close to the time limit for the second reason, but I heard the
Yeah,
reasons
and by
pretty
the way,
clearly.
I think that's one problem because we can't see the timer there. So it's about 45 seconds, so we don't have an idea of when it's gonna finish the time. So
Well, yeah, you can help. You can really help yourself with that. I mean, either on the TOEFL, or if you've got a watch, or whatever you want to use. So,
Okay.
you can, and of course, but you're right. I mean, the time limit, it can be challenging, but I think the more that you practice with the strict time limit, the better idea you'll have. You'll just get better at knowing, well, what do 45 seconds feel like. But I thought, you had two clear answers. I mean, about why you admire him. I mean, he's been a good teacher for you, but you also, that second major point about him knowing about wider issues about culture and the US or Europe, and I liked your phrase. You said he always has something to talk about, and I like that, something interesting to talk about. So that gave me that, a phrase like that is so helpful, because it makes it very clear for me or for the examiner to understand what kind of person you're describing. So I thought that was a really strong answer, Danilo. Thank you very much for that. Good pronunciation, good word choice. I think you're right. You found it relatively simple, and that came across in your speaking. So yes, very well done. Very well done with that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I'm gonna get back with my washing up.
Okay, well, good luck with that as well. Good luck with that as well, Danilo. All right, thanks a lot for joining us. We just have a couple of minutes, so I'm going to check my chat box, which I can't respond to because I can't type in chat today. We've had some problems this week. The teachers, not just me, so I apologize for not being able to join you in the chat box. I'm going to say this time tomorrow, in fact, 2 p.m. GMT tomorrow, we're going to have another go at this TOEFL class. We're going to look again at those independent questions. Later on next month now in March, we'll look at the integrated questions. And so yes, they are more complex because you have to do some listening and then some speaking, or you have to do some listening and some reading and then speaking, either to give your opinion or to report, to give a summary of what you've heard and of what you've read as well. So a little bit more complicated, but like all of TOEFL, if you practice, and if you practice in the right way, you're going to improve, because this test, yes, it's a test of your English skills, it's also a test of your TOEFL preparation skills as well. So the more you know about what TOEFL wants from you, then the better you're going to be able to prepare, the more realistically you're going to practice, and the better your performance and the better your scores in all parts of the TOEFL exam. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much. Do you have any last questions for us? We have a minute. Anyone got a question for me before we go? All right. Well, I'm going to just share my screen. I've got some links I would like to share with you, because I can't, unfortunately, I can't use the chat box. I just want to put that big link on the screen, and it's also in my lesson description, by the way. There we go. So I'll leave you with this, and it is the official TOEFL website, and very helpful for when and how and where. And let me just leave that with you, and let me say thank you so much for joining me in class today. Thank you for all your good answers. Thank you for your discussion and your questions and your suggestions. I appreciate all those things. So if you want to come back for another class, come back this time tomorrow. In about a minute's time, we'll start again with TOEFL speaking. There's the official TOEFL website. I will see you, well, I hope to see you all very soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Have
guys.
a good day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.